I just want to quickly highlight 4 pillars that I think New Hope, and this is why it's so important, because you were, and we can argue who was the first, St. Paul or New Hope, but you were one of the first. So same year. The first, 150. St. Paul is celebrating in August, so we'll give New Hope the nod, if you will. And I'm from New Hope, so we'll give New Hope the nod. How about that? But because of your historical position, you should be in a place to help lead the church into its future, into the next 150 years, not just in the life of New Hope. Because see, the individuals who founded New Hope didn't just found New Hope for New Hope. See, some of us found churches just for our own edification. They founded the church because they knew there was a void spiritually, but there was a void socially and justice-wise, and they wanted to ensure that our children were educated, that our children were empowered, that our children were equipped, that our children had a future, that our children, and not just the kids that lived in my house, but the kids in the neighborhood, they cared about our future. And so the first thing I want you to remember, my brothers, as we be ready, and that is to maintain our prophetic voice. Frederick Douglass once said that the black church, and black people in particular, represent the soul within the soul of America. So if we are the soul within the soul of America, and we are spiritually lost, we have abandoned God. What does that say for America? If we are not speaking truth to power, what does that say for America? We have the spiritual power to change hearts and shape minds, to fight for the oppressed, no matter who they are. And the church should help to frame the question in light of culture, in light of economics, in light of demographics, in light of all these things that are transitioning and happening before us. How is the soul of America, y'all? The church. We should be echoing and speaking prophetically. Are you on the right side of history? And let me say this, just because you win don't make you on the right side. How do you say you love God you cannot see, but you hate your brother and sister you can see? What is the role of the church in politics, economic matters? Are we in a position to focus on prayer and deal with personal holiness, but also address the social holiness that is very much before us? We must maintain our prophetic voice. And let me say this, naming it and claiming it is not prophetic voice. And we are folk who are more concerned about filling a pew, packing a house, because they're going to give somebody a watered down version of, they're going to give them the self-help version of Jesus and not the life transforming, the empowering part of Jesus that calls us to a place of conviction. If you don't get convicted, something's wrong up in here. If the preacher hasn't stepped on your toes, something's wrong. If the preacher hasn't called you out, went into your bedroom, something's wrong. If you get mad at the preacher, something's right. You're going to have a lot of mad folk, Pastor, when you finish preaching on Sunday. So we need to maintain our prophetic voice. The second thing we need to do, and that is maintain what I call organizational capacity. Don't miss this. The power of this institution. Yeah. As I stated earlier, every movement, don't miss this, except for this moment in history, has been birthed, developed, managed, orchestrated through the church. Black Lives Matter was not. We have abandoned our responsibility. But hear me. See, the church has the social change. It is the social change vehicle. Civil rights movement, March on Washington. Think about this. When politicians want to connect with the black community, where do they go? To the black church. Because we are that we have the organizational infrastructure. But somehow we've become intoxicated with the pursuit of mega church status. And we have forfeited our prophetic voice and our ability to mobilize because we have the infrastructure to lead social change.